a volunteer high school coach charged with sex crimes.
Everybody from the school to the players and the parents of those players trusted him.
Police say the victim was a teenage girl. Will separation go to a province-wide vote?
If she puts it on a referendum, it'll be a bizarre question to ask that leads to nothing at the end.
Legal confusion over two rival petitions. And she struggled with a heart condition.
Initiating treatments early will really help patients to hopefully gain some symptom control.
Now she's the author of a massive study into it.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Ian White.
Good afternoon. Calgary police have charged a volunteer high school coach with sexual assault. 50-year-old Drew Allen Robertson is accused of grooming and sexually assaulting a minor over a 2-year period. Police say it started when the victim was a 15-year-old student at Henry Wisewood High School. Moses Waldo is live with us with the latest. And Moses, what are Calgary police saying and when did this investigation begin?
Ian, Calgary police are saying that their investigation began last Tuesday after their child abuse unit interviewed students, teachers, and everyone involved in the situation. Now, police said that they were tipped off by an online group chat and a video allegedly sent by Robertson. Now, CTV has obtained a screenshot of what appears to be the text message Robertson deleted from that group chat, but CTV has not seen the video. Robertson is charged with 1 count of sexual assault, 1 count of sexual exploitation by a person in authority, and 1 of making sexually explicit material available to children. The alleged incidents occurred while Robertson was coaching at Henry Wisewood High School, where the teenage girl participated in extracurricular activities. Staff Sergeant Chris Tudor of the Child Abuse Unit spoke about the abuse in trust that's involved.
Everybody from the school to the players and the parents of those players trusted him to coach and mentor their students and their children. And the accused took advantage of that position to take advantage of one of his players.
The Calgary Board of Education says that Robertson no longer has any activities involving the CBE school teams or association. He will appear in court tomorrow. Ian?
Moses, thanks very much. Police say a man found dead in a Calgary hotel is a homicide victim. On Sunday night, officers were called to the Emerald Hotel and Suites on Sunridge Boulevard. The body of 42-year-old Jerry Wayne Bull was found inside. Investigators say the person they took into custody had outstanding warrants and is not charged in relation to this incident. Police continue to investigate. A Juno-nominated Indigenous cellist and composer with strong Calgary ties has died in a car crash. Chris Derksen was born in Mackenzie County in northern Alberta. The 45-year-old performed with the Calgary Philharmonic Orchestra in March of 2025 and has been the CPO's artistic advisor since 2021. The CPO says our hearts are heavy over the news. She was slated to perform at the Sled Island Music and Arts Festival in June.
It was amazing.
A measles exposure alert has been issued for Calgary. It comes as 2 new cases have been confirmed in our city. The province says an infectious person was in the Children's Hospital Emergency Department on Friday. Anyone there between 3:40 and 8:40 p.m. may have been exposed. There's also a measles exposure alert for the Earlton Medical Clinic on McLeod Trail. It happened May 14th between 5:15 and 6 p.m. and May 15th between 2:35 and 3:10 p.m. Those at risk for exposure are advised to watch for symptoms and call the measles hotline if any appear. Health experts say the best protection is 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. Alberta health officials say a small number of students are being treated for rabies exposure after an encounter with a bat on a school bus. It happened on a Golden Hills Division school bus in Drumheller on March 13th. The bus driver and all students who may have been exposed were assessed. There are no reports of serious illness or adverse reactions. Thomas Lukazik will finally have the chance to speak to a legislative committee about his Forever Canadian petition tomorrow amid the ongoing Alberta separation talks. Tyson Fedor joins us live from McDougall Centre, and Tyson, Lukazik is hoping to portray a message of unity and have Alberta remain in Canada.
Well, Ian, Thomas Lukazik collected the signatures of more than 400,000 Albertans last summer in response to his petition with the question that said, do you believe that Alberta should remain in Canada? Lukazik will have 5 minutes tomorrow to meet with committee members to portray that message. Now, this comes as the organizers behind the Stay Free Alberta Independence movement filed a stay application with the Court of Appeal today. They want to have last week's court decision on the separatist petition set aside pending an appeal. Lukazik and Alberta's NDP believe the Premier may put a question on a referendum ballot as early as this week. The Select Special Citizen Initiative Proposal Review Committee will meet in Edmonton tomorrow, but the agenda for the nearly 90-minute meeting is blank. Lukazik says the difference between his question and the one from Stay Free Alberta is that his was meant for the legislature, not a public referendum.
She'll be polling Albertans, but she cannot do anything with the outcome of that question, which separatists, I imagine, won't be happy with either, because they want, action from the Premier. So this question was intended for a question in the legislature for MLAs to vote. If she puts it on a referendum, it'll be a bizarre question to ask that leads to nothing at the end.
Now, the Premier's office does say that last week's court decision is still incorrect. It's also anti-democratic. According to the Premier, Cabinet and caucus will meet sometime this week to discuss this further. Ian?
Tyson, thank you. This will be the final season for the Snowbirds before their Tutor jets start being replaced. The Canadian government has decided to replace the fleet with the Swiss-made Siskin II. The changeover is not expected to be complete until the early 2030s. For more than 60 years, the Tutor jets have been in service. Canada's defense minister says safety concerns are driving the planned changes. You can catch the Snowbirds in Alberta this summer before they're grounded. In July, they'll be at air shows in Cold Lake and Red Deer. For the August long weekend, they'll be performing in Grand Prairie. So into the wild blue yonder. Indeed, we have some pretty good conditions in Calgary right now, but there's a lot going on elsewhere in Alberta.
Yeah, and even in Calgary now, there's a lot going on as well. So it's an active day today in the city, outside of the city, all of southern Alberta, and it will be an active one tomorrow as well, and then things will stabilize. So I'll have the longer range forecast for you in just a little bit, but first focusing on the radar, let me zoom into the cells going on just outside of the city. So just to the north around Airdrie, up to almost Crossfield, there are a couple storm cells, and then one tracking towards Irricana and potentially Bicycle as well. Some smaller size hail with some of these, some lightning for sure, a decent downpour, and there's even the risk of a little bit of rotation and funnel cloud development. So keep that in mind. For Calgary, thunderstorm activity, isolated showers, certainly the potential even through the overnight hours. 16 degrees is the temperature right now. Some places in the city seeing some blue sky, and other places are getting a little bit of rainfall. We have that, again, potential right through the overnight hours, and then the showers should clear out of the way by about 5 a.m., and then thunderstorm activity is again possible late day tomorrow after 4 p.m. That's your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Fifth Avenue Volkswagen. Family-owned, community-driven. Discover more at Fifth Avenue Volkswagen.
Thanks, Danielle. She was a patient with a unique condition, and then she went to medical school. Next, how she's leading groundbreaking research into the heart ailment that afflicts her. And it's the 30th anniversary of an organization that provides therapy to young people with cerebral palsy and other neuromotor conditions. A University of Calgary medical student who spent years searching for answers about her own debilitating condition is now helping rewrite what doctors know about it. Kate Bourne was just 12 when she began experiencing extreme fatigue, abdominal pain, and other unexplained symptoms. She has POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It's It's often misdiagnosed, and even when it's diagnosed, a lot of doctors tell patients it will clear up over time. That belief is wrong, according to Bourne, who is now the lead author of the longest and largest study of POTS patients. It found 98% of those afflicted still experience symptoms years, often decades, after the first onset of symptoms.
And I think one of the important things to know is that we do have treatments available for POTS, both medications as well as other strategies like lifestyle modifications that can help. But unfortunately, if doctors aren't thinking that POTS is a serious condition, they may be hesitant to actually initiate those treatments. However, initiating treatments early will really help patients to hopefully gain some symptom control and be able to continue on with their lives.
Bourne says the study should prompt clinicians to reconsider how they treat POTS and help patients to advocate for better treatment. An organization that works with children and young adults living with neuromotor conditions is celebrating 30 years. It's known as FACE, which stands for Families of Alberta for Conductive Education. It got its start in 1996 after families brought the program here from Hungary. Conductive education is a holistic form of therapy with a focus on helping participants with life skills to make them become more independent. The programs are run in a group setting for preschool kids right up to young adults.
We're trying to really build awareness in the community, let people know we're here. You know, Calgary is we're almost at 2 million people. So we know, with people moving in all the time, there's a huge need in this population who don't know about organizations like ours who could really use this kind of programming for their children.
Organizers say they've built a tight-knit community for families whose children have cerebral palsy and other neuromotor conditions. For more information, head to our website, ctvnewscalgary.ca. So, for those people who would like some showers for their plants in the backyard, they might just get them.
And for those people that want to plant their plants and have it not freeze, well, this longer range forecast,
right?
It's for you. So forget about that long weekend and what happened there. Who needs snow in May? We have a lot of warmth in this forecast here for you. Okay, so we do have isolated showers in the city, as you can see by that live camera. Now, in some cases, it's evaporating before it hits the ground, and in other cases, it's making it to the ground. So isolated showers. 16 is the high so far today, also the current temperature, and really right where we should be for this time of year. 20 degrees is the temperature in Brooks, so even warmer than normal, and it's 17 in Medicine Hat, 14 in Lethbridge. When you look at gusts for today, around that 40 to 50 range for most communities. Calgary, we got up to 41 today. We can expect 40 to 50 km/h gusts for tomorrow. So similar winds tomorrow in all communities compared to what we've had today. All right, so here's that active radar. And yes, some of these cells are not strong enough, so the rain is falling from the cloud. You can see it in the distance, and it looks like it stops in the middle of the sky. That's called virga. It's evaporating before it hits the ground. It makes it very windy at the surface as it passes through. And in some cases, these cells are creating quite a downpour that just passed QE2 and tracking off to the east. And in some cases, there's thunderstorm activity as well. So here's one near the Airdrie area. Airdrie is just catching the edge of it, but up the QE2, it's been even heavier with regards to rainfall. This was packing some smaller size hail, but that has since died out, it looks like, at this point. And there is a cell tracking towards Irricana, Bisker. You'll see some rainfall coming up here soon if you're not seeing it already. And we're getting a cell that's moving through parts of Calgary as well, which might develop into a bit of a thunderstorm cell within the next 10 minutes or so. So isolated showers, thunderstorm activity, even a statement in place, Drumheller and up. So basically just to the east of the QE2, funnel cloud development is possible. Rotation is possible, and it may gain enough steam, and there may be enough energy and rotation there to actually make it to the ground, become a tornado, a weak tornado, but that's the possibility in these areas, basically just east of the QE2 and up and over to Provost. Okay, looking at the futurecast, there's those cells that are moving through right now. We have the potential in Calgary, off to the east, off to the south, isolated showers, thunderstorm activity, even through past the midnight hour. And then some showers will push through in the morning and then clear out by 8 a.m. And then later in the day, pop-up showers, thunderstorm activity possible. By Thursday, ridge of high pressure builds in, and it's just going to continually get warmer. So late day thunderstorms possible tomorrow, high of 12, and then we get closer to that 20 mark Friday and the weekend with lots of sunshine.
Looks great. Thanks, Danielle. Back in 2016, he was named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people. Still to come, paleoanthropologist Lee Berger on what his discovery of a new species taught us about human beings. Inflation races ahead across Canada, especially at the gas pumps. Joining me is Dave Popowich, portfolio manager with the Popowich-Carmeli Advisory Group. And Dave, the higher price of gas is a huge driver of inflation.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ian. I think you're right on the money. And no surprise here, everybody that's filled their car up recently knows that gas prices are, of course, higher. In fact, they're almost 29% higher if you look on a year-over-year basis. And given that that's 3% of the average consumer's spend, that does affect the overall inflation number. And we did see it move from 2.4% in the month of March up to 2.8% on a year-over-year basis in the month of April. If there's any surprise, perhaps it was that the market analysts were expecting something in the order of 3 or 3.1%. So perhaps a little lower than expected, but no question, inflation on the rise.
Meantime, bond markets are reacting poorly to this higher inflation.
Yeah, you know, the question is, how does this impact us? And perhaps from an investor and a consumer perspective, let's maybe start from the consumer perspective. If inflation is going higher and the expectation that interest rates are going to move higher, then what that could do is affect things like if you hold a balance on a credit card, if those rates go up, or if you have a variable rate mortgage, or perhaps you're renewing a mortgage at a higher rate, all of these things can have a dampening effect on your ability to spend because more of your money is going to service debt. If you're an investor, you're looking at the future profitability of a company. So if you look at the tech sector today, under pressure today. Now, what's happening is, remember, what we pay for a company, a share price, is really just the discounted value of their future earnings. Well, unfortunately, as interest rates go higher, what it means is the value of a dollar 10 years into the future is worth less. And that's what's pressuring the equity markets today. So the fact that bond markets are behaving poorly affects us not only as consumers, but it affects us as investors as well.
Dave, thanks for the update.
Bye, Ian.
A Lethbridge researcher has unlocked a potential alternative food for cattle. A scientist with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada was curious whether cattle can digest seaweed. Wade Abbott and his colleagues used the Canadian Light Source facility at the University of Saskatchewan to find out if cows have the enzymes to break down seaweed. They found evidence that the animals do have the bacteria required. The study notes seaweed won't replace hay or traditional animal feeds because it's expensive, but seaweed could be an immunity booster. The team's findings are published in the science journal Nature Communications. An Alberta separatist group files an appeal after last week's court ruling struck down their petition. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Ian. The case is expected to take months to work its way through the courts, but Alberta's opposition suspects the UCP will still add a separation question to the fall referendum. Coming up at 6, and Head Nenshi explains why. Also ahead, we have details about how this city bus ended up on its side during the morning commute and how passengers on board are doing tonight. We'll see you at 6, Ian.
Thanks, Tara. Deep inside a cave in South Africa, paleoanthropologist Lee Berger made a new discovery of something that's very old. Berger uncovered Homo naledi, a species dating back about 300,000 years. Berger, a National Geographic explorer in residence, presents Cave of Bones May 31st and June 1st at the Workland Centre. And joining me from Johannesburg, South Africa, is Lee Berger. It's wonderful to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you, and I'm fresh out of the field. Literally an hour ago, I was in a cave.
Oh, that is incredible. We'll talk about that in just a second. But in terms of this discovery, how much did that discovery change what we understand about the origin of human beings?
You know, this was a sort of discovery of a generation. It was the discovery of the largest assemblage of ancient human relative remains in all of history, and it remains so to this day. A new species, about 250,000 years old, incredibly primitive though, looking like it should have come out of millions of years ago, yet existed at the same time that early Homo sapiens did here in southern Africa. At the time we announced it, it was world news. It shocked the world because it shook up our ideas of the very steady pace that we thought human evolution had occurred. And what was maybe even more dramatic was that at the same time we announced a species, we announced that it was a cultural species, that we thought that it had deliberately disposed of its dead. Well, now we've gone further than that. We have new evidence that this was an incredibly complex species, maybe one of the first species as complex as we humans are, but existed hundreds of thousands of years before we became that complex. And I'm going to be talking about that when I get to Calgary.
And Lee Berger is at the Workland Centre May 31st and June 1st. To see my extended interview with him, visit ctvnewscalgary.ca. Shower is a definite possibility in the next 24 hours, but beyond that, sunshine, lots of it in the forecast. Danielle has the details coming up. Danielle, when you use the term funnel clouds, people tend to get very interested.
Yeah, it is interesting. It also can be dangerous, right? Because some of these could actually develop into a tornado. So keep your eye on the sky, especially if you're east of the QE2. Calgary, might as well keep your eye on the sky anyway, because the sky is dropping some raindrops. Also, non-severe thunderstorms possible even through the overnight hours. At midnight, we could get a thunderstorm. 16 currently, that's also our daytime high. Tomorrow is unstable once again. So showers possible until about 7 or 8 in the morning, then calm and quiet, and then thunderstorm activity back later in the day. But then it stabilizes. 18 with nothing but sun for Thursday, and by the weekend, temperatures in the 20s.
Thanks, Danielle. A Calgary musician, artist, and instrument maker's decades-long labor of love is ready to strike its final chord. For nearly 50 years, Susan Rod has been building this handcrafted harpsichord inside her Calgary garage. The instrument features thousands of intricate moving parts, hand-cut wooden mechanisms, and detailed paintings of Alberta birds, landscapes, and plants. Rod started the project in 1976 after deciding the Renaissance quartet she played viola in needed a more authentic sound than a piano could provide. She says when she started the project at the age of 34, she had no idea it would take 5 decades to finish.
No, I had no idea. I just went along with it, you know. When life got in the way, I didn't work on it. And when it didn't, then I carried on.
Harpsichords usually sell for $50,000 or more, but Rod doesn't plan to keep it or even sell it. She will be donating it to a Calgary harpsichord player so it will become a working instrument. Thanks for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.